Well, after last week's episode, I'm going to keep standing, and 2, I think we need a little something lighter this week. So I want to talk about how many times in our lives do we have stories that when they happen, not funny at all. No laughter, no joy. I'm just like, why did that happen? But then later in life, you and your friends can always laugh about them and share them together and make a big joke out of it. I have lots. Can't do this.
Can't sleep, let's run away.
Yeah. First one I'm going to do, though, is about a buddy of mine. He actually brought it up. We were talking about all these stories, and we were sitting there watching UFC fights. And this guy comes out with this awesome looking flag. It's half his native country and then half USA. I'm like, I almost feel like that's a Georgia flag. My buddy's like, really? Oh. And so he looks it up and he shows me and I'm like, oh no, that's totally not it. It was like green and there was a bunch of different things, Confederate flag, all those things. And so we're continuing to watch the fight. He wins. They do an interview, and he's like, this is from my native country of Georgia. And I look at my buddy and I go, did you look up the country Georgia? And he goes, Georgia's a country? He had looked up the state Georgia flag, which I should have known. I don't think there actually was a Confederate flag, but I should have known because it did not look like a country flag. Detailed in most country flags is like, there's a symbol and the stripe, and yeah. Should have known. Next one for me is I had a big retreat I was supposed to go to. It was all the way up in Estes Park, YMCA of the Rockies. So I put YMCA of the Rockies in my phone and I started driving. And I lost everybody and I was kind of confused by that. And so I kept driving and they asked, hey, where are you? We've been here for an hour. Where are you? Well, it says I'm an hour out. Or I think it was 2 hours out. Like, what? Would you get lost? I was like, no, I've been driving. Where are you going? YMCA of the Rockies. Which one? What do you mean, which one? What? There's two? There's two YMCA of the Rockies? I've been going to Winter Park, which, for those of you not in Colorado, that's really far from Estes. And I hung up the phone, very upset, started driving the correct distance. The main issue with this was not only did I have some of the leaders that were going to be helping, I had all the equipment for the retreat, every light. Oh gosh. Pretty sure it's been about 3-4 years since that happened, and to this day, every time they talk about, make sure when you go to Estes Park, you go to the right one, Patrick. I'm not allowed to drive anymore. They make me take the bus. I don't blame them. I never want to drive again. That was forever humiliating. So I was driving and a wheelchair was in the road after falling out of a truck with no person in it, and I hit the wheelchair. Not a great day for me. Only got worse. Called my boss, said, hey, I'm not going to be into work on time. I'm going to be late. There's a wheelchair under my car because I hit a wheelchair. I didn't think I needed to state I didn't have a person in the wheelchair. Well, on the news, it broke out that at the same time in the same area, a man in a hit and run had hit someone in a wheelchair, I think killing them. So I show up to work, and as I walk in, they look at me and they go, are you supposed to be going to jail? I'm like, what are you talking about? What? Why would I go to jail? They thought I had hit somebody in the wheelchair and they thought the police were looking for me. Luckily, no one called the cops. They actually asked me what had happened and I said, I hit no one in a wheelchair. It fell out of a truck and I hit it. So that still is in infamy because of the fact that everyone always brings it up and goes, you remember when you killed the guy in the wheelchair? I'm like, I did not kill anyone. That is a horrible, horrible thing to say. Also the fact that I hit a wheelchair and that was a nightmare. Not fun. My most embarrassing story, though, to me personally. There are lots of embarrassing, but this one takes the cake. Now, I decided, you remember the southern accent that I told you about? Yeah, and I lied to that girl. Well, let me go into more detail about that. See, she had been showing up like a lot during that time, and I was using the southern accent a lot. And so I thought it would be nothing because I did not figure out she was into me. She liked me. There was interest. I was like, nope, way too attractive. Beautiful, tall, Catholic, athletic. Nope, not a chance. And she kept coming in, and then we ended up going on a date, and her boss ended up showing up, and he sat down, and then they were like, hey, you should come to a work retreat with us. Okay. So I said yes, and luckily before the end of the night, I finally told her the truth. And that wasn't the embarrassing part. That was the, like, I'm so sorry part. The embarrassing part was the next day I had to host a watch party, watching the Broncos game on this group I was on for a long time. And during that, you could comment and we would read them out loud. And one of my friends decided to comment, hey, aren't you that Southern guy who tore his rotator cuff in college and can't play quarterback anymore? And my coworker read that out loud, and I was like, oh. And then he immediately commented under it, he goes, no, that's right, you just lied to someone about that. So that was broadcast to like 5,000 people. They still like to bring that up, and somehow it got back to the youth groups I lead, and now my kids like to go, like, hey, maybe you shouldn't lie to people. Great teaching moment for all of us. All of us. I think, though, it's so important that now I can look at a lot of these things and be able to laugh, that I can kind of sit there and realize these are kind of a fun thing for us to share as friends. Now, don't make it your whole personality where your whole life is based on making a joke of yourself. But being able to laugh at yourself with your friends every once in a while is a healthy thing, a good thing. And just as much as sharing our struggles is important, I think sharing laughter is equally as important. And I think if we start sharing our embarrassing stories a little bit more, we'll start seeing a difference in our world. Because we're all the same. We all have an embarrassing story. And so my challenge, a simple challenge, if you dare, down below in the comments, share your most embarrassing story or a favorite embarrassing story. I will pick the best one to share with the following week. I will hopefully see some really good ones down there, and hopefully we can bridge the gap with a little bit of laughter. Thanks.